Imagine you walk into a high-end store and rent a ready-made Jenga tower. It's polished, perfectly stocked, and looks incredible. You take it home, place it on your shelf, and you feel great. But when you try to actually play the game, when the winds of reality blow, you realize it's hollow plastic. It looks like a tower, but it can't hold a single ounce of pressure. This is the central metaphor for our conversation today. This is what happens when we try to rent an identity instead of building one. We buy the look, the aesthetic, the expensive gear to feel actualized. But the moment life throws a wobble, the hollow blocks collapse. So having said so, welcome back to JengaPod, building you up block by block. I am Godwin Silayo, your host, and this is episode 2 of our series, The Central Role, Do Not Be a Victim. Last time we talked about taking the director's chair. Today we're exposing the subtle leaks, the signs that you're a victim, and the ways we quietly surrender our power by renting our identity and giving you the victor's code to start building with intrinsic, unshakable strength. But before we dive in, do take a second and like this episode. It helps more people find JengaPod, and it tells the algorithm that this message matters. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast or even Amazon Music, hit a follow so you never miss an episode. Alright, let's keep going. Part 1, the identity rental market, extrinsic versus intrinsic. We live in a culture obsessed with convenience. Identity is marketed as a product you can buy and customize. You can buy the look of a high achiever without ever doing the boring, repetitive work. This is where the psychological battle between extrinsic and intrinsic motivation begins. The victim operates in the extrinsic zone. They are performing for the self-actualization economy. They are waiting for the brands, the audience, the external praise to validate who they are. And here's the structural truth for your Jenga tower. You cannot buy discipline. Discipline is the antithesis to convenience. It is the one thing you cannot fake, you cannot shortcut, or you cannot speed it up. It is the solid wood. So when you rent an identity through external goods or validation, you are a victim of developmental helplessness. You are telling your brain, my worth is conditional on external approval. Now, this subtle leak feels like progress because you are busy posting, buying, curating, but you're actually making yourself structurally dependent on the opinions of others. You have surrendered the source of your ability to an audience that is notoriously fickle. Their sudden absence makes you question whether what you're doing is important or not. You go out of your way to look for validation instead of building from within. Part 2. The subtle leaks, the signs of surrender. How would you know if you're playing the victim role? Now, victim role shows up in how you handle effort and validation. Now, let's identify the 3 core leaks that signal an identity being rented, not built. Number 1, the audience requirement. This is the validation leak. Do you only work out when you can take a selfie? Do you only write when there's a guaranteed audience? If your motivation is contingent on likes and views, you have leased your drive to the audience. Now, the victor's reality is they do this because it is who they are when no one is watching. And that is the definition of integrity, doing things even when no one is watching. Doing the right things even when no one is watching. Their commitment is to the process, not the performance. And this is the core of inner locus of control. Number 2, the evergreen no, the avoidance leak. This is a form of learned helplessness. When we internalize the unconditional no from a few past failures, we stop looking for alternatives, we stop asking, how can I? And we settle for, I cannot. The subtle leak here is procrastination by assumption. We assume the effort will be too painful, so we don't start. Now, the victor operating on a cognitive behavioral therapy CBT principles challenges the thought. Is this thought a fact, or is it a feeling designed to keep me comfortable? Number 3, the comfort trap, the resilience leak. A soft life and constant easy doesn't build resilience. In reality, your nervous system learns strength and adaptability from systematic exposure to discomfort, not from the things that are too comfortable or things that don't stretch you to new horizons. The victim uses comfort as a form of anxiety medication, immediate external reliefs to avoid internal confrontation. The victor confronts the anxiety, looks it in the eye, and builds their foundation, knowing that the structural integrity comes from handling the challenges, not from avoiding it. So let's look at this example, the battle of perspective. The question that I would ask is, how does validation work in a victim's mind? The victim thinks that they need people to see them to feel valid, while the victor believes that their worth is in the work they do. Now, when they face obstacles, what happened to the victim? The victim considers this as something that happens to them and that they are unlucky. While for a victor, they know that hard things build resilience and it takes time to actually make something work. So they use this as an opportunity to learn and improve. If this is speaking to you, pause for a second and like this episode. It helps more people find JengaPod and it tells the algorithm that this message matters. And if you are listening on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or even Amazon Music, hit a follow so you never miss an episode. Awesome, let's keep going. So part 3, the Victor's Code, building with intrinsic gold. Now the Victor's Code is built on intrinsic gold. It is fueled by the simple, non-negotiable understanding that reps are louder than shame. You can outpace embarrassment by simply showing up again and again. Now the Victor knows that true self-actualization, the creation of your central role, is messy and unglamorous. It happens in the space between who you think you should be and who you actually are when you're tired, broke, and alone. Think of it like this. The victor is not the one who never fails. It's quite the contrary. They are the one who has a non-negotiable rule about showing up the next day, even when they have failed massively. So you don't need the perfect coffee shop to ride. You just need to ride. You don't need the matching gear to run. You just need to move. You need to transition from identity rental market to the identity construction side. Now to close, stop renting and start building. Your task this week is to run an identity audit on one area of your life, maybe your career, it could be your fitness, or your personal growth, or your Christian journey, your faith, spiritual journey, and focus on the internal motivation level. Before we go, this is the JengaPod challenge. As I mentioned, the internal motivation audit. 1. Identify one key behavior. Pick something you say you want to be. Could be a writer, a runner, a discipline saver. Number 2, apply the test. Do you engage in that behavior when absolutely no one is watching and there is no external reward? Check your integrity on that aspect. Number 3, commit to the unseen. If the answer is no, your challenge is to perform that behavior for just 15 minutes this week. Make sure you tell absolutely no one about it. Build the block for yourself. The moment you move your motivation from the audience to the internal clock, you stop being a victim to external opinion. Now, having said so, this was episode 2. Episode 3 is next, where we give you the actionable blueprint on how to permanently take the central role in your life and stop being a victim in your own movie called life. Now, this is JengaPod and I'm your host, Godwin Silayo. Let's keep stacking, let's keep building, let's keep on rising. Thank you so much for tuning in and do not forget to subscribe. Until then, see you on episode 3. Thank you.